Hi everyone, it's Kate from Fold Line. I am back this week with the Sew Down. This is our monthly roundup of stuff that we've seen, listened to, read that we think you guys will find interesting. Stuff to listen to while you're sewing. Yeah, lots of stuff. And now, because we've sort of changed the format of everything, which you may have noticed recently, the Sew Reporter, which we used to do on Sunday, which we included lots of stuff, we now are going to kind of bundle everything into the Sew Down, so you get this kind of really meaty, good chunk of stuff to keep you kind of entertained over the next month. So I've got loads of stuff to talk to you about. I'm going to get cracking. So the first thing to talk to you about is True Bias Zoe Tank. This was her latest release. I will show you a couple of pictures if you don't know what I'm talking about. It was released a month or so ago. Really nice, like great basic tank and dress option. She's done, now you do need to have got this pattern, but she's done an add-on, a free add-on, where she does 3 neckline variations for the pattern. So I thought that was worth mentioning. If you've got the pattern or you're thinking about getting it, it's free and it's on her website, and everything I am going to mention will be linked down below, so you can go and check it out. So that's really nice, little free thing to add a bit of difference. My laptop is here because there is so much to talk about. So, stuff to read. Some nice articles. The first one's from Vogue. It's about this season's Westworld's Roaring Twenties. So it's a TV show that's on Sky. I haven't actually seen it, but I have read the article because the outfits in it are so incredible, and Louise found it and sent it to me, and I thought it was really interesting. You guys would like it. There's some really lovely pictures, and they're just talking with the costume designers about how they came up with it and the process, and yeah, so that's a really nice read for you. Another thing to read is from The Guardian. It's about Find Cell Work, which is a charity that we've supported a few times before. They encourage people to get back into work from prison, and they teach people how to sew. So they make products in prison, which then gets sold to kind of keep the thing going. So it's a really nice initiative, and they're talking about, they've got a kind of quite a chunky article about themselves, and they interview someone who is working for them in prison, and it's really interesting. So that is definitely worth going and having a read. The next article, this is like a little, less of an article, more of a, if you just fancy having a bit of a look at something. This is a kind of selection of the most iconic movie dresses in history. When I say article, the kind of pictures with a little thing underneath describing the film or wherever it was that they came from. But there are some really amazing ones in there, and there are also some films that I've never seen before. So I thought it was worth passing on because you might not have seen the film, so it could be a really nice sort of starting point if you're thinking you want to discover some old films that you haven't found before. This would be a good option. Right, sorry. So, sip of my tea. Next, this is a London specific one actually. Anyone who's in London, there is a really fantastic Instagram account called the London Stitchers Meetup. There'll be a link down below. And they do meetups in London, obviously with everything that's happened over the last couple of years that hasn't. But they are arranging one at the end of August. So it's Friday the 26th of August at 5:30, and they're going to see the African fashion exhibition at the V&A. It's open for anyone. You can all turn up, and the tickets for the show, like the exhibition, are £16. And yeah, I think it will be really nice. So if you're in London and you're feeling like you want to get back into like the world of sewing, meet some other like-minded people, it will be really nice. These have been really popular in the past, and loads of people have turned up, and it's just nice to do stuff in person. So if you want to like hang out with fellow sewing fanatics, this is a really good option. So go and check that out, because all the details are on their post and everything, so you can find out everything that you need. Talking of the V&A, there is it hasn't been open yet, but it's coming up, which I think everyone should sort of, if you're not London based, plan to come to London, because it's going to be so good. So it's an exhibition about Gabrielle Chanel. So there have been obviously huge amounts of exhibitions about Chanel and their history, but there actually hasn't been one just about her specific work within the company and what she did. So I think this is going to be fantastic. It opens on the 16th of September, and I think it's going to be amazing. So just kind of keep it in your diaries. It'll be really, really fab. It's going to be mega. So that's just a date for your diaries. Another really great exhibition that is happening at the moment, and it's I think it's free. It's yes, it is. It's a free exhibition, and it's called Eternally Yours, and it's at Somerset House, and it's Christina, who works for us, has been to see it and said it was really great. It's an exhibition about mending and looking after clothes, and they have loads of things sort of laid out so you can have a look. The thing that I thought was a really interesting collaboration is that Toast, the brand, are sponsoring it, and they are also running workshops alongside it. So if you do want to go, check out, because they've got some really lovely in-person workshops. They actually also have some virtual workshops as well if you wanted to join. So there's a knitwear embroidery one, there's a reimagining textile waste, and there's one about maquette making, which is like miniature little things. So I think go and have a look, because I think they're really interesting, and even if you can't go to the exhibition, it's an interesting kind of concept. I've got a couple of books to share with you. The first one is a sewing one, the Sew It Yourself with DIY Daisy. For anyone who came to the Sewing Weekender, she was one of our speakers, and she shared a project from her book. They are pattern-free projects, so you cut your own pattern. She's got a really beautiful aesthetic. If you haven't come across her, I'll pop a link to her Instagram as well. She's just fab. And if you're looking for something fun, simple, actually potentially at summer holidays, and you've got slightly older children and you want something to do with them, this is really, really great. So go and check it out, because it's out on the 4th of August. So yeah, it'll be a really good one. And the photography I've seen from it looks fab. Yeah, it will be a must-have book, I think. A couple more books. These are not sewing related, but there's a book that I'm reading, and there's a book that Rachel is reading, and I thought I'd share because quite often people are looking for things to read. So the book that I'm reading at the moment is Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus. This is so fab if you're looking for like a holiday read or something to take you kind of out of the world. It's fiction. It's set in the 60s, and it's about a woman who is a scientist who becomes a single mother, and then completely by accident becomes this sort of cooking sensation, and she ends up on TV. And I think the thing that's really interesting, there's a lot about kind of the role of women in that time. It's quite political. It's a really good read. I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably halfway through now, and it's really beautifully written. I'm actually listening to it on Audible, and the narrator has got a really lovely voice. So if you're looking for a lovely book, that's one. Rachel is reading The Wilding at the moment, and she said that it's absolutely fantastic. This is about a couple who bought a farm and have started to rewild patches of it. It's a really interesting concept. It's something that a lot of people are doing. It's obviously really important for the complete chaos that is the world at the moment. And I've heard loads about this book before, and it's definitely been on my list as well, but she's really enjoying that. So that would be another good read. A couple of things to watch. So the first, and I haven't seen this yet, but Louise recommended it and I reckon it looks really fantastic. It's called The Extraordinary Life of April Ashley. It's on BBC4, and she was a transgender pioneer from the 60s, wartime, sorry, and she's based in Liverpool, and it said, from wartime Liverpool slums to London's high society, the epic story of the model dancer and transgender pioneer who changed Britain. And I think this will be really fantastic. There have been loads of great reviews for it as well. So if you're looking for something to watch, I think that would be a fab option. Another little video to watch is only like 4 minutes long, but really enjoyable. It's about the costume designer. It's a costume designer at the National Theatre for Antony and Cleopatra. And she's talking about the outfits that they made for Cleopatra. They are beautiful, really interesting cuts, and it's worth watching. It's just lovely. They're just kind of talking about how they designed all the costumes, all the dyeing process. It's really nice hearing someone talk about costume for a performance. Yeah, and she talks really well. So that's a nice little video if you want a little kind of break in between work. Right, podcast, things to listen to, and one more sip of my tea. So I've got 4 really great podcasts for you to get your teeth stuck into this month. The first one is called The Trojan Horse Affair. If you haven't come across them before, it's the company, or the company Serial, who probably created the first iconic true crime documentary. They then produced a second series called S-Town, which, if you haven't listened to it, is probably one of the best podcasts I've ever listened to. It's incredible. And this is their latest offering. I have only listened to 2 episodes of it, so I'm still kind of working my way through it. I'm trying to save it because it's so good. It's incredibly produced. It's so well researched. They spent years and years doing it. And this is more UK based in terms of the news story. I don't know if anyone remembers the story about a weird letter that appeared on a councillor's desk in, I think it was 2014, and laying out an elaborate plot by Islamist extremists to infiltrate Birmingham city schools. And it went absolutely, I remember it in the news, it was like pandemonium. Everyone went mad about it. And the interesting thing that this series is looking into, they never actually looked into who wrote the letter, why, like, it all seems, they were saying that looking at it, it looks like a massive sort of spoof. And anyway, it obviously uncovers something a lot deeper and darker, and I think it's going to be really fab. So if you're looking for something to get stuck into, each episode's about an hour, so they're kind of real, yeah, it's going to be great. So I'm really excited about that. The next one that I'm also partway through but is so good is 28-ish Days Later. This is a podcast about the menstrual cycle, and it was on Radio 4. I heard a couple of episodes, I was in my kitchen and it was on, and I got completely kind of sucked in. And it's so well produced. It's really clever. So it goes through each day of your cycle, 28 days. Well, a standard average cycle, which many of us aren't. And dives into, it's really fab. So I think everyone should listen to it. It's really important. I've learned loads of things I had no idea about kind of different parts of your cycle, and they interview loads of things, loads of people. It's really great. So that's a definite must listen to. This next one is, I would say it's a really interesting story. It's a little OTT, but worth listening to for the story. So it's called Business Wars, which is on One Tree, and it's about Gucci versus Louis Vuitton and the rivalry that has happened throughout their kind of careers. And it's at a very interesting, they kind of swoop in at a very interesting point when both brands get new leaders, and it's sort of like, it's dramatized. It's a sort of dramatized episode, but the story is really good and worth listening to, so that I would recommend. And last but not least is another one that I'm just, again, halfway through, but really loving. There have been so many good things I've just found this month to listen to. It's great. So Siegfried is about Siegfried and Roy, who were, you know, I'm sure you've heard of them, infamous magicians, and it's about their life kind of outside of their kind of show world. I mean, what did it say? They performed 30,000 shows for 50 million people and generated well over $1 billion in ticket sales, which is insane. And it's kind of the story of their relationship. It's really well done and really interesting. And actually, when I started listening to it, I sort of thought, I can't believe that no one's done this before, because it's such a kind of, they were so famous and these kind of iconic figures that no one's ever done it before. But yes, so that is it for me. I hope that is some good stuff for you guys to get your teeth stuck into, and we will be back soon with another video. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.